Vous avez l'entrée principale? Yeah, we'll be on
En effet, pour avancer sur le
and to mobilize resources with effective implementation. You will recall that on the 2nd of this year, in social spending and engaging our partners to secure our nationwide staff verification and audit exercise crisis. On the issue of governance, the judiciary has registered significant progress and the majority of the. This is why I declare that a new national development plan should have been firmly behind the constitution and social challenges of authority in society. On the basis of these international these projects will be secure and stable environment marked by strong social cohesion.
Good morning and welcome to everybody, especially a very warm welcome to the President and all his delegation. It's a pleasure to receive you once again in Brussels and to be able to have some good news today. In difficult times, I think you are allowing us to dedicate some time to positive trends and supporting a positive work. First of all, let me start by thanking everyone who is here with us today, notably our colleagues and friends from the Gambia and the President himself, but also our colleagues and friends from the African Union, from ECOWAS, from the United Nations, and all the ministers and all the delegations that are here from the European Union and from our partners. And this is maybe the first message we want to send today, that the world cares about the present and the future of the Gambia and its people. And most of all, actually, I think we all need to send very special thanks to all the people of the Gambia, because it's them giving us hope in very difficult times. They have never given up, even when the situation seemed desperate and when change seemed impossible. Against all odds, the people of the Gambia have brought change in their country, and they did it democratically, using the tools that they had to have a say. They did it peacefully, and this was the best reaction after all the violence that had been imposed on them. And they did it together with their African brothers and sisters, with the neighbors, with the West African community, with the African Union, and with the entire international community, and with the European Union. I will never forget, Mr. President, our first phone call. That was on the day you were sworn in. You couldn't enter your country yet, and there was so much uncertainty about the future. In those hours, it was really about respecting the electoral result, creating the security space and then the political space for you to play your institutional responsibility. But something huge had already happened, because your people had asked for change for the first time in the history of the Gambia. And since then, the Gambia has taken impressive steps forward. Last year, you released political prisoners and announced a moratorium on the death penalty. Exiles have returned home, civil society is now active, and journalists are free to do their job without fear. Today, we have with us the Minister of Finance. For 3 years, he was kept in jail as a political prisoner. He regained freedom, if I remember well, just before he was appointed minister. And other members of your government have endured similar treatment, from repression to arrests and jail. The Gambia is showing to the world that freedom and democracy are not just abstract concepts. They are about real people and real lives, and that change is possible. The law on the National Human Rights Committee has been passed. A Constitutional Reform Commission is being set up. New judges have been appointed, and the justice system is now operational. The Gambia has rejoined the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court as yet another demonstration that you want to turn the page from violence and impunity. And I know, President Barrow, that you are determined to continue on this path and realize the promise of a new Gambia. A truly democratic Gambia needs strong and effective institutions. I'm proud of the work you have done and we have supported. We've done together somehow. We have agreed the first ever EU election observation mission to the Gambia to observe parliamentary elections last year in April. Others around this table have also worked with you to make the election credible, fair and transparent. And for the first time in over 20 years, the Parliament is now working in a democratic environment. And I'm glad that the European Parliament has welcomed members and staff of the National Assembly to support you in this crucial moment for your democracy. A truly democratic Gambia also needs professional, respectful security forces. This is one of the first issues we tackled together. The reform of your security sector is and must be owned by the Gambia, but we Europeans and the European Union as such, you know that well, we are here and we will continue to be here to give you all our support, both directly and through the ECOWAS mission in Gambia, which has played a key role to preserve the stability of the country. The new Gambia can and must be a place where every citizen can feel at home and enjoy the same rights. It has to be a reconciled Gambia after decades of suffering, and reconciliation always needs justice. So I'm glad that you sought help from countries that have gone through similar processes, and on this issue as well, we are ready to support your work as the European Union. The new Gambia can be an inclusive country where everybody finds their place beyond gender, faith or ethnicity. It's a small country, and yet it is also very diverse. But I am confident that you can find unity in your diversity, a shared identity beyond social and political divides. And just days ago, I know your capital city has elected the first lady mayor in the country's history. And I believe that this can also give hope and inspiration to many women, not only in the Gambia, but also elsewhere in the continent and in the world. A more inclusive and democratic country is also one with better economic opportunities for all. The Gambia has a vibrant youth with strong entrepreneurship spirit, asking for good training and for the opportunity to start their own activity. And you see colorful notebooks that have been offered and done by Tiga, a young woman entrepreneur who benefited from our support under the Youth Empowerment Project. And she has set up her own small business. This is just a small example of how a project really transforms and supports real life. Companies from Europe and from around the world, I believe, are discovering and will discover more and more the potential of the Gambia. And I believe this will be clear tomorrow during the business forum that will focus precisely on how to foster growth and bring more investment to the Gambia. Your government has good projects to improve the country's business environment and the infrastructure. You have set up an ambitious national development plan, and we will hear about it directly from the finance minister in a few moments. We want to accompany you in this work, to make sure that the benefits of democracy reach all the people of the Gambia and turn into something very concrete. Today, as the European Union, we can announce, and we're proud to announce, an additional support of 140 million euros in grants for the Gambia to help you implement the National Development Plan. And I'm very much confident that other partners around this table will also do their part at this level so that we can make this high-level conference a success, but most of all, that we can make your future work in the Gambia a success. After the presidential election in 2016, your neighbors and the international community stood with the Gambian people. We stood on the side of freedom and democracy, and the news, I believe, today is this, that 2 years on, we are still here on your side. We are determined to continue to accompany you on this path, to consolidate the results you have started to achieve, to accompany the people of the Gambia on this path as you build a democratic, successful, inclusive country for all the people of the Gambia. And you can count on us all to do that. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Frederick. I think today is a very important day in the history of the new Gambia. Last year I was here in March. It was a different story completely. You are able to make a big difference. I think we have a story to tell. But without the support of everybody, it would have been very, very difficult. But we cannot thank you enough for all the support. Today is very important to us, but the most important thing today is the support that we have been given. The most important thing today, Gambia is not east. The most important thing today is not the money that we are going to generate, but giving the opportunity itself. That is the most important thing. So thank you very much for all the support, all the efforts, We make it very clear we cannot do it alone without your support. But we promise you that we will not fail you. We contested election based on the principle of democracy. We want to make sure we maintain that democracy in the Gambia to build a strong foundation for the future of that country. And one thing is interesting in Africa. 20 years, 30 years back, Africa was challenged. Africa was confronted. Wars, coup d'etats, rebellions. But today, Africa is moving towards one direction, that is democracy. I think that is significant and is important. That's why we are talking about African integration. It could have come earlier, but it cannot come better than this time. I think that is positive. Thank you very much for the support and the partnership. Your Excellency, the President of the European Commission, High Representative and Vice President of the Commission, Federica Mogherini, Honorable Ministers, Commissioner Mimica, Representative of the European Union Member States, African Development Bank representatives, IMF representatives, Islamic Development Bank representatives, World Bank representatives, UN representatives, members of the private sector and civil society organizations. All protocols observed. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, from the onset, let me express my gratitude to the President of the European Commission and the heads of states and government of the European Union member states for graciously hosting this conference. It is evident that they have dedicated time and effort to put together this critically important event. We have also noted with appreciation that a number of other partners assisted in organizing this conference. They include the African Development Bank, the World Bank, the United Nations, and other key development partners of the Gambia. All these efforts reflect the strong support for Gambia's development and its transition from an autocracy to a democracy. Furthermore, it demonstrates the country's movement away from isolation to acceptance as a member of the global family of nations. It is with profound delight and optimism, therefore, that I preside over this international conference on the Gambia. This occasion is meant to discuss the development priorities of my government, as outlined in the fourth National Development Plan of the new Gambia, and to mobilize resources for its effective implementation. You will recall that on the 2nd of December 2016, after 22 years of dictatorship, Gambians decided to take back their country with great courage, determination, and dignity. Prior to this, the abuse of power, disregard for our constitution and the rule of law, as well as disrespect for the fundamental human rights of the Gambian citizenry were quite common. The historic decision that ushered in the new Gambia opened a new chapter in our history and offered us a renewed opportunity to build a modern, accountable state based on the foundation of democracy, good governance, respect for human rights, security, and prosperity for all. However, it also presents new challenges that need to be addressed urgently. Mr. Chairman, my government inherited an extremely challenging legacy, characterized by a broken economy, gross abuse of financial procedures, plunder of our mega state resources, and social regression, worsened by poor and dilapidated infrastructure. Among the wide-ranging societal challenges are the frustration and lack of opportunities for our young people. These challenges have forced thousands of them to undertake risky journeys, often with tragic consequences, across the Mediterranean Sea in search of a better future. Similarly, many of our able and eminent sons and daughters in the diaspora were compelled to live in exile due to the repressive environment that prevailed, thus deprive the country of vital human capital and resources needed to fuel economic growth and the social transformation of our society. Since coming to power last year, my government has undertaken many bold measures to stabilize the economy, restore public confidence, and strengthen democratic institutions. The first urgent actions included revising the 2017 budget, cutting social spending, and engaging our partners to secure their support. These initiatives help to stabilize the economic situation, leading to reduction in domestic borrowing and interest rates, alongside strengthening our external reserves. To further contain government expenditure, our nationwide staff verification and audit exercise was undertaken to eliminate ghost workers. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in addition to developing an energy sector roadmap for implementation, we had to take urgent steps using emergency measures sometimes to address the energy crisis in the country. On the issue of governance, I am proud to state that the governments have repealed some of the draconian laws of the past regime, reformed the electoral laws, and established a commission of inquiry into the economic activities of the past regime. The judiciary has registered significant progress, and the majority of the judges are now Gambians. However, we are aware that more needs to be done, and urgently too. This is why I declare that a new national development plan be developed to provide greater clarity and focus for government action, and to serve as the overarching framework for our engagement with the citizenry and our development partners, especially those who have been firmly behind us since we came to power. The National Development Plan, through its 8 strategic priorities and their critical enablers, will not only lay the foundation for a modern democratic state, but also serve to address the pressing economic and social challenges confronting our society. This 3-year plan, 2018-2021, has been translated into flagship projects, which form the basis of this international conference. These projects were developed through a very participatory approach involving different stakeholders. Through its robust accountability framework, the National Development Plan responds to my concern to ensure a strong focus on results, sound monitoring and evaluation processes, as well as strengthen engagement between government and all citizens, including those in the diaspora. In order to realize the vision and goal of the National Development Plan, we will work hard to create a secured and stable environment, marked by strong social cohesion, safety, and peace. Linked to this, with the assistance of the UN, EU, ECOWAS, and other partners, my government has also embarked on a robust reform process of the security sector, which is aimed at bringing the security services under full civilian democratic control. This is to ensure that the structures and human resources are appropriate for our national security needs, and that the men and women in our armed and uniformed services play a meaningful and positive role in national development. At present, the total cost of the flagship stands at $2.4 billion, with a financing gap of $1.6 billion. It is this financing gap that I am presenting to you for funding. Given the economic challenges we have inherited, and the numerous development issues to address the effective implementation of the National Development Plan requires significant donor support. As a result, I call on all of you and implore you fervently to pledge generously in order to cover the financing gap. To conclude, I thank the President of the European Commission, Head of State and Government of the EU member states, distinguished ministers, and all senior EU officials present. I deeply appreciate, too, the warm welcome accorded to me and my delegation, together with all the efforts that have gone into the successful organization of this conference. In the same vein, we thank all our development partners for their attendance in this meeting and for their invaluable support. I thank you for your kind attention.